pilgrimage of His Holiness Pope Francis to the shrine of Our Lady of Fatima on the occasion of the 100th anniversary of the apparitions of the Blessed Virgin Mary at Covadonga, May 12 to 13, 2017. In-flight press conference of His Holiness Pope Francis from Fatima to Rome. Papal flight Saturday, May 13, 2017. Greg Burke. Thank you, Your Holiness. It has been a very intense 24 hours. 24 hours dedicated to Our Lady. The Portuguese were very moved when you said, "We have a mother." You feel this in a very personal way. 100 years ago, Our Lady did not appear to 3 important journalists but to 3 shepherd children. Yet we have seen how they, in their simplicity and holiness, were able to get her message out to the whole world. Journalists who have a message to get out, and we see this in the great number of countries they come from. They are very keen to know about your journey. If you wish to say something first, Pope Francis. First of all, good evening. Thank you. I would like to answer as many questions as possible, so we'll do things quite quickly. I don't like it when we are only halfway through, and they come to tell us that it is already time for the snack. So let's do both things together. Thank you, Greg Burke. And now Ora Miguel. Ora Miguel, may I ask my question in Portuguese or Italian? Pope Francis. Italian would be better. Ora Miguel. So, Holy Father, in Fatima you presented yourself as the bishop dressed in white. Until now, this expression has applied rather to the vision of the third part of the secret, to St. John Paul II and to the martyrs of the 20th century. What does it mean that you identify yourself with this expression? Pope Francis. Yes, in the prayer. I didn't do that myself, the shrine did it. But I also wonder why they said that. And there is a connection about the white, the bishop dressed in white, Our Lady dressed in white, the radiance of children's innocence after being baptized. There is a connection, in that prayer, with the color white. I think, because I didn't do it, I think that on a literal level they were trying to express by the color white the desire for innocence, for peace, innocence, not doing evil to another, not making war. Or Miguel, is the interpretation of the message being revised? Pope Francis. No. That vision. I think that Cardinal Ratzinger, then prefect of the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith, explained everything quite clearly. Thank you, Greg Burke. The next question is from Claudio Lavina of NBC, here at the right. Claudio Lavina of NBC. Hello, Holy Father. Yesterday you asked the faithful to knock down all walls, and yet, on May 24th you are meeting a head of state who threatens to build walls, something rather contrary to your words. But he also has, so it seems, other opinions and decisions differing from your own. For example, on the need to take action in the face of global warming or on the welcoming of refugees. So, on the eve of this visit, what opinion have you formed of the policies that President Trump has adopted so far on these questions? And what are you expecting from a meeting with a head of state who seems to think and act in a way contrary to your own? Pope Francis. Well, the first question is, but I can respond to both of them. I never make a judgment about people without hearing them first. It is something I feel I should not do. When we speak to each other, things will come out. I will say what I think, he will say what he thinks. But I have never, ever, wanted to make a judgment without hearing the person. And the second is, what do I think? Claudio Lavina. What do you think especially about questions such as the welcoming of refugees? Pope Francis. But this you know quite well. Claudio Lavina. The second thing is really, what do you expect from a meeting with a head of state who thinks differently than yourself? Pope Francis. There are always doors that are not closed. We have to find doors that are at least a little open, in order to go in and speak about things we have in common and go forward, step by step. Peace is something crafted, it is made daily. So too with friendship between people, mutual knowledge, esteem is crafted, it is worked on each day. Respect for the other, saying what we think, but with respect, walking together. Someone sees things in a certain way, say so, be honest in what each of us thinks. Claudio Lavina. You hope that he will soften his decisions afterwards. Pope Francis. This is a political calculation that I do not permit myself to make. Even in the religious sphere, I am not a proselytizer. Thank you. Greg Burke. Thank you, Holiness. Now we have Mimo Mualo of Avenir. Mimo Mualo. Good evening, Your Holiness. Let me ask you a question in the name of the Italian group. Yesterday and today at Fatima we saw with you a great testimony to popular faith. The same faith is found, for example, at other Marian shrines too, such as Medjugorje. What do you think about those apparitions, if there were apparitions, and about the religious fervor they have evoked? Seeing that you have decided to name a bishop delegate for the pastoral aspects, and if I may be permitted a second question, which I know is close to your heart, as well as for us Italians, Ngos have been accused of collusion with smugglers, human traffickers. What do you think about this? Thank you. Pope Francis. I'll start with the second one. I read in the newspaper that I paged through in the morning that there was this problem, but I also do not know what the details might be, so I cannot offer an opinion. I know that there is a problem and that investigations are underway. I hope that they continue and that the whole truth comes out. The first, Medjugorje. All apparitions or presumed apparitions belong to the private sphere. They do not form part of the public ordinary magisterium of the Church. As for Medjugorje, a commission was set up headed by Cardinal Ruini. Benedict XVI set it up. At the end of 2013 or the beginning of 2014, I received the results from Cardinal Ruini. The commission was made up of good theologians, bishops and cardinals. Good people. The Ruini report is very, very good. Then, there were some doubts at the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith, and the congregation judged it appropriate to send each member of the Feria Quota meeting the entire documentation, even the things that seemed contrary to the Ruini report. I was notified about this. I recall that it was late on a Saturday evening. It didn't seem right to me. It was like putting the Ruini report up for auction. Sorry for this word. A report which had been done very well. On Sunday morning, the prefect of the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith received a letter from me, in which I asked him to tell them that instead of sending their opinions to the Quota Feria, they should send them to me personally. These opinions were studied, and all of them stress how substantial the Ruini report was. Yes, mainly, three things need to be distinguished. About the first apparitions, when the seers were young, the report more or less says that the investigation needs to continue. Concerning the alleged current apparitions, the report expresses doubts. Personally, I am more mischievous. I prefer Our Lady to be a mother, our mother, and not a telegraph operator who sends out a message every day at a certain time. This is not the mother of Jesus, and these alleged apparitions have no great value. I say this as my personal opinion. Who thinks that Our Lady would say, "Come tomorrow at this time and I will give a message to that seer"? No, in the Ruini report, a distinction is made between the two apparitions. Third, the real core of the Ruini report, the spiritual fact, the pastoral fact, the people go there and are converted, the people who meet God, who change their lives. For this there is no magic wand. This spiritual pastoral fact cannot be denied. Now, in order to look at matters with all these findings, with the responses sent to me by the theologians, a bishop has been named, a good one, good because he is experienced, in order to take a look at how the pastoral part is going. And at the end, something will be said. Mimo Mualo, Your Holiness, thank you also for your blessing to my fellow citizens who thank you. They saw this and were very happy. Pope Francis, thank you. Greg Burke, thank you, Your Holiness. Pope Francis, and pray for me. Don't forget,